Is this flash for tomorrow? Games don't have that kind of intuitive design anymore. If they did that scene today, she'd say, hey, maybe I can shoot at the moon. This is really cool. Do you hand draw these and then color them? This is all done in Procreate, huh? Gotcha. So you hand draw all these and then color them. Again, I love your thoughtful light source. Like I can see an edge of light here. That means this kind of falls in shadow. Same thing on this limb, and it's really obvious where I can see the shadow is here, the light is here, shadow of the potato here, light source here. Love it. Just kind of makes everything feel a little bit more dynamic. Makes it a little thicker. Everything has some nice light source. I really love that. If I had to give a creative criticism, okay, let me ask you two things. Is this a finished composition, or is this a way for you to show 5 pieces of art at one time? Does that make sense? Is that a clear question? See, we got 5 viewers. We got a new person in the chat. I would love to meet you. Want to chat with us? Okay, so it's not a singular composition. It's 5 images kind of laid out so we can look at all of them. Okay, so let's kind of focus on each one individually. Okay, so aside from the fact that, the concepts are really cool from the video game, I don't know this video game. So I'm not going to talk about the symbolism or the concepts, I guess. The first thing I can notice is that this light source is coming from this direction. Oh, let me make that bigger. It's coming from this direction here, right? Because here's the shadow. But if we go up a little bit, the shadow is in the center here. I mean, the light looks like it's hitting in the center here. And then when we get up to the top of the grenade, it looks like maybe the light is hitting this side. So it looks like the light kind of wraps in a direction like this, which is a little confusing, but doesn't mean it's wrong. I would, if it was to try to make it consistent, I would try to keep the shadow here on the lemon side, keep the shadow here on the rim, and keep the shadow here on this. So this would be the dark side, which means the highlight side would be here, this would be the highlight side here, and then that would match the fact that the highlight's on the lemon on this side. Now my light looks really ugly right now, but does that concept make sense at all? And again, you can do the highlights. I see how clean all your work is, so don't judge my scribbles. But the idea that our highlight side is decided and then our shadow side is decided, and then we stick to that. You still there? Did I lose you? Oh. Yeah, I mean, if there's something that I don't understand, then let me know. But I'm just giving a little bit of creative critique. Like I said, the work is beautiful, obvious. Uh, oh, well, thank you, thank you. And I think that there's probably a similar kind of pattern that we could kind of look at all of these things. And I haven't broke them all down. I just broke that one thing down. But like, if we look at this guy here, this machine that's coming out, we have a nice shadow. It looks like maybe the shadow side is here, and the highlight is up here. And then we get down here, like, I like that there are shadow and highlights, and it's coming from all kind of different angles. And man, I would have to get in there and really think about it. But what I would say is that if this is a light source here, we could go back to kind of what Human Robot was doing in his work, where he would take like this yellow here and he would lay it over the top. I mean, I'm not sure if this is how he did it. And then blur it. Oh, that's too much. Doing a terrible job here, but you see how his was much cleaner. Maybe he could tell you how he got a cleaner thing, but you see how it gives that little haze that he was doing in his work, so it kind of looks like that light is there, and you might have to like put a little bit of white right at the center of that for it to really work. Okay, look, he said he used thanks, boiled pork lover. I like your name. You know, growing this beard is a full-time job. Okay, so let's try what he said. So if I go to screen, oh yeah, look at that. Color dodge is another cool one. I think screen's the way to go though. But you see how we added that little haze there, Fifi-chan? And not only that, but if this is our light source now, then instead of the light source kind of adding this rim here, maybe the light source like plays off of the light in your design. So that means the highlights would kind of be around this coming outward, and that the shadows would kind of start coming from the back here. You know, so if we keep like very like obsessive about what our light source is at all times, it just adds a little bit more of a dynamicism. But I'm sorry I'm scribbling on top of your work, but can you see how I kind of focused that this was our light source, throw the highlights from the light source. That means everything that's away from the light should have a shadow wrap and a highlight wrap. Does that make any sense? Here, let me go ahead and put this in the chat. This is Human Robot showing some of that haze. Oh yeah, when it comes to tattooing, that's a whole different story, Fifi-chan. Like, I'm not exactly sure. Like, if you're talking about, like, the shadow stuff that we're talking about, I think could translate into tattoos. Might even make them a little more understandable. But sometimes, like, you might have to cheat some shadows just so the highlights and the shadows fall in a way that make them make sense. But I'm just looking at this from a design perspective alone. But yeah, I love the hazing over here. It's really cool. Oh, I just can't post that way because I can't physically do it. I love these. Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, like I said, I wasn't sure if these were just designs or if they were pieces of art or if they were trying to be tattoos. But if we were looking at them specifically, like as tattoos, Fifi-chan, The only thing that I've seen people say that might make some of these ideas a little stronger as tattoos are like the sticker idea. Like, for example, things that you want to, and you probably know the answer to this, things that you want to fall to the background get a fat outline, and things that you want to come forward get a thin outline. So like, for example, this, let's work with this one because it'll be a nice easy shape for me to kind of draw around. But like, if this particular drawing had like a big, that's not even big enough, like a big outline around it, you know, so that the outline of it kind of said that it was the outside of it, and then you'd have a variation of lines. So you have this thicker line across the outside and then the thinner lines on the inside. And I think every one of these drawings could benefit from just like a thicker outline, a thicker outline around the main subject, just so it feels like heavier. It feels a bit heavier than the rest of it. So like, for example, like if you look at this potato here, like these thin lines, and then there's some beautiful variations around the back side of this donut shape. Like the line gets a little thicker there and then thinner on the front. And then as we get to the back of the design, the lines get thicker. I think that might elevate the look of it. Not only that, but make them feel a little more tattoo-ish. Same thing with this lemon, you know. If it had a big, thick outline around the whole thing, not only would it help with some of the dynamicism, but also like all your tattoo teachers will say how great your tattoos are because they love thick, heavy lines. But I think just to round it out, my bit of input was unify the light and the shadow. So just make sure all the lights comes from one side and all the shadows on the other. And the second thing was just like some line variations. Don't be afraid to put some big, thick lines around the weighted objects. That way the thinner, lighter things that come towards the forefront can have smaller lines. Yeah, this is a closer example of what we're talking about here. So Fifi, I'm gonna put this new one here. This is a drawing that Fifi just gave me to look at right here. I still think that you could have. Is this a particular anime? So some of the stuff I'm talking about anime might not quite make sense. It says we got 5 viewers. Boiled Pork Lover, are you still in here? We got anybody else in the chat? I would say it would be cool to do some cyber stigilism for these, unless this particular look is something from anime that I don't know. I would do some cyber stigilism. I gotcha, human robot. I just like to talk to them. I want to talk to them even if they don't want to talk to me. I see you there, and I appreciate that you're here. You could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with me, and I appreciate that. So, I think it would be cool if these two pieces were cyber stigilism. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce that. And then the same thing here with these faces. I think you could still do some outlines here. You know, if this guy had a bigger outline around him. Oh, my outline is so sloppy. But if this fella had like maybe a bigger outline around him. You know, it might give him some more weight. Same thing with her, and maybe not everywhere, but sometimes, like especially as a tattoo artist, like if you could give those guys a little bit more weight, then what I would do is same thing I do in my drawings, where like this black area here, there's so much black area, I would add just like a little bit of highlight there. You know, and the same thing with his nails. There's like, just maybe a little bit of highlight on his nails there, just to bring that out a little bit. And then same thing here. If we're in her thing, like I did a little dot in her eye there, and maybe like a little white in his eye too. And again, I know some of these things might not exactly translate when you're getting to tattooing. But anywhere there's a large amount of black, you can add a little pop of white, and what it does is it just adds some contrast. Look, you did it on the earring here perfectly. And then like even in her hair, you could add some extra white areas just to kind of add contrast. Wherever you add contrast, people's eyes just go. They can't help it. It's like manipulating people. Just putting some extra contrast in there. How's that look? So does that make some sense? That little bit of feedback on this picture here? I hope I'm not wasting your time. Let's see what we got here. Wow, okay, so I'm gonna pull this one up. Yeah, I'm not even gonna say anything about this one. This one's almost flawless. No notes! This is unbelievable. This is gorgeous. The line, you could even go thicker on some of these areas if you really wanted to step up what we're talking about. But man, the line variations look awesome. But like, for example, like if you did like one master outline, and I could be wrong, but like the whole thing kind of was encapsulated by an outline, it might feel more sticker tattoo-y. And like skip something like that, the pipe. So the pipe that's coming out of his head feels like it goes behind him. Something like that. And even like, what if we followed his arms up here? But like, I always feel like the more line variation, the better, and it really makes those characters kind of separate a little harder. Yeah, and especially like when people have tattoos, like over years, they're just going to get blurrier and blurrier. Someone told me once, if you take your tattoo design and you blur it and it still makes sense, that's what a tattoo is going to look like. So this is year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5, year 6, and then after you've had a tattoo for 80 years, it's going to end up looking like this. And the only thing that's left is that big outline. But the design of the drawing is really awesome. Yeah, I'm sure there's stuff in the tattoo or just that have to do with tattooing that's not art that I'm definitely not taking into consideration. Okay. I hope that helped, and I hope you appreciated the feedback that I gave you. And also, like, I can't thank you enough. Like, I know it's vulnerable to give art and to take criticism in front of people and in front of strangers like this. So thank you, Fifi, for taking a chance and sharing some art with us and letting me take a look at it and talk about it. Okay, human robot's getting aggressive in the chat again. The Autobot's gonna block him. Okay, I had one more that we wanted to look at. Look at you, boy. Y'all, look at the progress that we've seen since we've been in the chat. Asked You did this one. Man, I am impressed. Asked You. Look at that. The progression, dude. This is the first drawing. I'm sorry, I've scribbled all over it. And this is the new drawing. That's pretty cool, man, to see that progress. Keep going, dude. If you keep progressing like that, you're gonna be you'll be better than me by the end of the week. Yeah, I don't really have any notes, man. I think it's pretty good. The only thing I would, if we just wanted to nitpick, I really think that the point of this whole thing is to just allow yourself to have fun. So the question is, like, did you have fun on this second one? Does it feel like it's getting more fun? And do you feel like you don't have to predict what the drawing is anymore, and you can kind of allow the drawing to kind of pop out? So it kind of pulls some of the stress away. And so at the end of the day, if you're having a bad day, if you are stressed out, or that this art and in general art becomes like a stress reliever instead of causing stress, and that's kind of why I do this particular style, is because I do all kind of art and it's all stressful. But when I can just scribble on a sheet of paper and just smudge some things around and just be an audience member, and I watch the face come to the front just like everybody else does, it's fulfilling. It's stress relieving. It's relaxing. So that's my main input right now, is like, make sure you're focusing that. Are you having fun? Are you moving fluidly? Because I will say, the lines in your drawing will not only kind of tell your audience how you feel, but it's going to make them feel a certain way. So, for example, if I'm using lines like, hold up, let me restart this. If I'm using lines like this to do my drawing, you know what I mean? It's gonna look angry. It's gonna be unsettling. If we do little tight things like this, it might feel a bit unsettling. If you kind of draw from your elbow and your lines feel more like this, and they kind of have this nice equal distance, this weight to it, almost like the different sizes of the petals of a flower, your audience will feel a little more relaxed when they look at the art, and you'll also feel a little more relaxed while creating the art. So, for example, if we look at the picture here, there are some very tight lines here. Hold up, I got all these windows are in my way. You have some real tight lines. God dang it. You have some tight lines right here. Right here. Right here. Little squiggles right here. Little squiggles right here. Some squiggles right here. And what happens is it pulls a little of the uniformity out. I think if you would, when you get to these eyebrows, like let the arcs be a little softer, and then over time, if they get faster, they might look like this, but really I'm doing circles, and then like this area here, like instead of coming over here and scribbling like this, let your arm like arc to this area. You know, and then when you do the same thing, like let your arm kind of mosey to this area here. You know, and the same thing, like I roll across his cheek, roll across an eye, and then roll into a forehead here. And you see how those lines, not only do they kind of create some variation, some fun, they're really relaxing to pull those kinds of lines. When I'm talking about like pulling a line, like on Fifi Channel know about pulling a line, but it's like that act of moving the pencil around like that, yeah, it does look like Saul now, is very relaxing. And I think it's relaxing to your eye. And it also, what it does is your eye is going to follow these lines around. And when it follows these lines around, it's fun. And it doesn't get stuck and stop. And also, it lets your imagination kind of put facial features where these lines are. So if we go back, and like this is before and this is after, and like better or worse, I don't know. But this manipulates a little more pareidolia out of you. It forces your imagination to do a little bit more of the work. And also the in your words, the wider lines, like drawing from your elbow instead of your wrist, these wider circles, they feel more elegant. They feel more elegant than a tighter squiggle, you know. And you know, you've seen it a million times. Like when people first start drawing, they might do something like this to do a circle. You know, a bunch of little jagged lines like that, and that's really not too bad. But you know, and this is how they're drawing, and man, that kind of stresses me out. You know, but what's comfortable and what's relaxing to do, and what's also relaxing to see, is somebody who draws a line with confidence, with economical motion. So just make that whole circle. Who cares if it's perfect? You know, make that other shape. Just try to get to the whole shape. You know. It already looks like a piece of abstract art. You know, just for example, like just those lines along that's comfort, and then like forget making a face. Let's just use the same technique I've always been using. I'm not even making a face now, but I'm gonna try to do the thing. Let's try to make a clear light source. Let's try to be consistent on our light source. And then let's take our, seeming like the settings were a little funny. You know, anyway, I don't want to get too far into this, but, you know, I could take nothing here and just kind of spend a little time on it. It's looking a little rough, and it's starting to look like, you know, a piece of abstract art I've seen. Put a signature on it here and call it a day. Sell it on Etsy. Done. Anyway, let's get back to the see how far it'll let us go back. Well, there's my layers, windows, layers. Let's get back to some of these faces. Man, it's cool stuff, y'all. Okay, there we are back. Alright, let me look at Astu's. Holy shit. Oh, excuse my language. So y'all, I'm sure if y'all are still listening in the chat, but you aren't looking, I just pulled in a rendering from Asteu's 3D work. Really beautiful, really moody. Really cool. Love, love, love the rendering. It's really good. Back to the nice. It looks like minus Tyrith. I don't know all these games or whatever it is. This is Asgard. Oh. From Norse mythology. Yeah. I think human robot was. What was he? No. Oh no, it was actually you talking about Norse mythology earlier. Yeah, this is real cool. It's real beautiful. So do you want me to give you a little creative critique on this? I mean, I don't know 3D work, but I can just give you some art input. Don't mean nothing from nothing. Alright, so the first thing I notice is there is a whole lot of negative space. And I generally like use of negative space. But what's kind of concerning me is that, maybe I can crop it down, is that, it'll be fine, is that it feels like we're very centered. It feels like this is almost dead center. And if we're following, I see you putting some more links in there, but we're going to do one at a time. Oh, that looks beautiful too, though. They all look really great. They all look really great. So there's a rule of thirds. Does everybody know what the rule of thirds is? I'm sure so if we break this image into 3 parts, up and down and left and right, you got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, you know. So what you want to do is you want to put your interest on the crossbars here, right? And what happens in ours is your interest areas are here and here. Does that make sense? So to adjust that, it's not tough at all. It's such an easy fix. But let me put these put these bars over the top. So if we have our rule of thirds here, all right, and I want to put my interest areas here, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take your drawing and I'm just gonna slide it down a little bit, my dude. Boom! And then 2 of the objects that are important to you hit our rule of thirds lines. Problem is, we've got to now extend the top here. And what it does is it gives us some more intriguing space up here above it. See, now what I would do tells me that I need to put like a bird in the sky right here, you know, or something that would what's going on with my pen here? But yeah, so if you see how this overlays, why can't I we've brought a little more of that negative space up here, so it's balanced. It feels like a balanced photo now. You know, if we look at how it was before, you know, this extra area down here and here was just too symmetrical cut down the middle, I think, when we got it back. Yeah, see, that just kind of just a little bit more pleasing based on the rules. I could be wrong. And again, that was just based on the rule of thirds. So like I'm you know, it's all opinions, it's all arts, and there's rules, everything can change, but that's just kind of some basics. Now, if we wanted to go further into the composition, this, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm gonna just try. I feel like this object here could be bigger and more in the foreground. And if it kind of crossed over that object in the background a little bit, it would even create more dynamicism. more dynamicism. And then, if you really wanted to get crazy, maybe the sky wouldn't be, but you might take this area back here and blur it a little bit. Is that gonna work? Is it gonna let me do that? Oh, wrong one. If we blurred it just a little bit. Oh yeah, that's not a little bit. Okay, but you have to find, you know, I deal with this and work all the time. If it's too blurry, you lose it. But by putting something crossing over here, and then also blurring that thing in the back a little bit, you get a bit of a feel like it's shot with a camera. So you get a foreground and a background. That dynamicism? Yeah, that might be the name of the stream from now on. The stream of dynamicism. But, you know, and if I'm just to go a little further, if I sharpen this front part like even more, can you see like the way it ups the dynamicism there? There is a real word, by the way, y'all. It's dynamicism. I'll Google it. Okay, but yeah, you see how you know, crossing that over there. This is such an ugly cut here. Just so we can get the full look. Same thing here. What if we just cut this just so we can kind of get an idea there? Well, we lost some of the exciting part of that building. So really probably what we need to do is kind of extend this part. Anyway, you get the idea, right? Whoops. Alright, so if we go back, anyway, so that's what I would do. I would try to follow that rule of thirds, because that allows you to kind of find an easy way to balance your image. Because it has this world building thing, like you're building this world, the distance, it's really, you know, your instinct says, I need to see everything in focus because I did all the details on everything. But if you allow the things in the distance to fall out of focus, you allow the things in the foreground to come into focus, what you get is you get focus. You allow someone to really give you all their attention to one piece. And like I said, in everything, the contrast, wherever there's highest contrast, darkest darks, lightest lights, that's how you get attention. So if you give the part of an image for the audience to focus on, it feels natural. And also, when you're shooting with a camera, this is what a camera is going to do. It's going to allow what's in the foreground to be focused, everything in the background to be out of focus. And your eye does the same thing. When you look at something with your eye does the same thing. I'm going to be taking a whole lot of it. Going to be hefty scene, but definitely we'll take these texts. And again, I'm just talking about artistic composition, balance, things like that. When it comes to like tattoo fundamentals or designing a game, there's going to be details that like I don't know anything about. I can't really help with. But when it comes to art, it's always, they have fundamental truths that are always true. Oh, great. I'm glad that the LUT thing helped you. Yeah, the LUT thing helped me. I use so many LUTs. Well, actually use just one LUT that I use constantly, and I use it on my monitors when I'm shooting films. I use it when I'm editing, and it just brings all my colors into a Gabriel Saint color palette. I know what my films look like. Okay. Look, we got 5 viewers. Who's the new person? I'd like to see you in the chat. But like, I don't know much about gameplay or tattoos, but I do know a couple things, and that's like, humans' attention always goes to where there's the highest amount of contrast. And that's true in photography, that's true in painting, it's true in music. When there's loud parts and there's quiet parts, people pay attention. People focus on the loud, they focus on the quiet. But if music is the same volume constantly, it gets boring, it gets monotonous, and you lose people's attention. People can't focus on that. And it's like when people are speaking, you need to speak dynamically. And it's true of everything. When you're drawing, you gotta have high contrast. Lighter lights, darker darks, louder louds, quieter quiets, bigger bigs, smaller smalls, more intimate things, more global things, more dynamicism, y'all. What is the word? Give me a dynamicism in the chat. Look, y'all are getting deep into some 3D stuff in the chat. Suddenly thought of whether I could pitch a lineup battle for FPS to my co-developer, but there's so much of this streaming is built around gameplay. I've noticed, and like the art of gaming is something I never really got to appreciate until recently, when they were really talking about the way they were treated at these companies where they're working so hard to make these games, and then like the upper echelons of the companies get to make all the money. And I never really appreciated like that the game developers are just artists, because all the things they were asking for, all the things that they just needed what any human artist needed, you know, food, shelter, and respect. And when they talked about like the time that they spent on developing characters, developing worlds, it really resonated with me, because it's just directing, it's just filmmaking, it's art, you know. And I never really realized that gaming was that. As when I grew up, I always stayed away from games, because I always felt like if I was drawing, or if I was making music, if I was painting, when I was done, I had something left. I had a product. I had something to show for my time. And when I played games, when I was done, I didn't really have anything to show for my time. And also, like, I suck at games. I suck at games. I'm not competitive. And, like, that has a lot to do with, like, me not being able to appreciate the art of it, you know? But, you know, I love watching people play games, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, I'm off on a tangent now, but I'm just kind of, you know, art is art, I guess is what I'm saying. Whether it's games, or whether it's paintings, or whether it's music, a lot of the fundamentals are the same. The unified color palettes that give you emotional feelings, the high contrast, the darker darks, the lighter lights, the pareidolia. You know, if you want people to focus on a certain area, make sure if you want an area not to be focused on, make sure that it doesn't look like a face. Not only that, but you ever, you know, I see tattoos all the time where somebody wasn't thinking. I'm just rambling, huh? Human robot, man. See you later. Thanks for the time. Appreciate you watching. I'll see y'all tomorrow night. I got to get going pretty soon here. But like what I was saying is like sometimes if you don't pay attention to the lines you put down, they might accidentally look like a face, or something phallic is even worse. Oh, I see. I'm sorry. I was trying to get caught up in the chat. Fifi Chan, thank you so much for being here. While everybody's still here, I just want to say again, I'm probably going to get out of here too. Astio, Human Robot, Fifi Chan. Who was our new person? The sausage guy. Boiled pork lover. Anyway, thank y'all for hanging out with me, for sharing your art, for letting me critique it, for critiquing me, for giving me your feedback. I appreciate it. And if you're having a tough day or a tough week or things stack up, I just want you to remember that you are talented and that you can go draw about it. You know, you can go sit in your room and you don't have to worry about anybody. And that we forget about that sometimes. That's really what art is about. It's just going to express yourself for a minute and nobody can take that away. Anyway, I'm getting out of here. I appreciate y'all's time. Don't forget, take it out on art. Don't take it out on yourselves. I'll see y'all very soon. Thanks for your time. I'm going to try to do this at 8 or 9 p.m. tomorrow. We'll try to do it every week. Follow me on Instagram and the YouTubes and wherever else you can find me. Please tell your friends to come hang out with us tomorrow night. I would love some more artists to come hang out. Good luck at work. Good luck at your flash. Good luck at the 3D design. Good luck boiling that sausage. Remember, y'all, dynamicism. I love y'all. Fifi, can I show it in the chat? Is that okay? I don't think it's that bad, Fifi. I think it's pretty good. I can totally see the face there. I can see a person there for sure. For sure. Oh yeah, asked you. I don't know if you saw that, but these links that Human Robot just put up are some of those 3D drawings he was saying he was using. Dude, the looseness, it's rough. It's rough. Are you using Procreate? I'm gonna start one from scratch, but I'm gonna show you the only difference between what I'm doing and what you're doing, if you don't mind. I'm not going to go too far, but the only thing I'm doing is I'm going one step further. And anywhere there's dark areas, I always focus on the same areas. You just need to add more darker darks and lighter lights. So when I add the darker stuff in the pupils, you see it happen instantly. Boom. All of a sudden, I'm kind of connecting with this image a little harder. And all I did was just put 2 black dots there. And then you also want to put those black dots where your tear ducts are. That's another thing that kind of anchors eyes there, and then on the outside of your eye. So if I hit those 3 spots right there, it just kind of helps bring your drawing a little further out into life a little bit, you know, because you see your initial drawing was great. You know, if I pull these off, I didn't change your drawing. I just added a little bit more dynamics. And that dynamic, that extra contrast brings focus. Whether you're working on music or whether you're working on movies or tattoos or whatever it is. The highest contrast areas always draw the most focus. So if I put some high contrast in the eyes, you focus on the eyes, and then your imagination does a lot of the work. So watch, it's a similar phenomenon in the nose. So if I just add some dark areas where there might be nostrils, already starts to identify a little bit harder. And it's not even like a skill of drawing. It's just like a understanding of light. And I think this particular technique I'm using, I think I learned probably more from photography than drawing. So now, Fifi, look at that. Look at that. So if we go back, you know, this is the drawing when we started, which is really brilliant. It's the bones you need. All I did was add some extra contrast into the part of the areas of a face that I've learned, like, really kind of make a face become a face. And there it is. I think it looks awesome. Also, my pencil is just under a different setting too. Like yours looks like it's actually a charcoal setting. How it's breaking up a little bit. That's pretty cool. Oh, did y'all see the cat come in the window? I'm using not the smudge tool, actually. The tool I'm using is called Mixer Brush. Maybe if you use the Mixer Brush tool. Yeah, did you see man just come in the window? Yeah, he wants attention. He hears me talking and he's wondering who I'm talking to. Over here, they're over here, guy.